this is quite a different video from what I usually do, but it will be a focus on my United States Liberty stamp album put out by the Harris Company. Many years ago when I was a kid, I got one of those catch-all binders, or albums, which I still have, and it's ripped and torn and falling apart just like this one here. This particular Liberty album here, I've had to buy two binders, one for the miscellaneous stamps and the airmail stamps, that sort of stuff, the back of the book stamps is what they call them. And this may have been replaced once, I'm not really sure. One of the binders was ripped and replaced. And these things cost a lot of money to replace the actual covers here, but if you're lucky enough to have a stamp shop and they just want to get rid of some of the stuff, I think I paid a couple bucks each for the replacement ones. I think this might be the original though. But several people wanted me to show off my stamp album, so we'll try to get a good focus here and see what we have here. The first page, of course, is falling out like every other book here, and you see this page has no stamps on it. Some of these stamps on the first page are worth thousands of dollars, and there's no way that I would even want to mount them in the book even carefully. They'd have to be in some sort of... But I do have some stamps that date back to the 1800s, and whether or not they're the correct spot, this one's still on paper here because I was afraid to soak it and damage the stamp. And then some of these stamps are so brittle, like this one right here. That's really falling apart. That's just barely hanging on into one piece there. But then once we start getting into like the early 1900s, there's variants and varieties of all kinds. And many of these pages I don't have, I'm just skipping through. Here's the first page that I have, and there's all different kinds of perforations and different printing measures. Some of them have watermarks that you have to buy special watermark fluid for. So it's really crazy, and many of these stamps in these early 1900s you can find for a few cents in bag lots, what have you, and you might be lucky to find a rare variety, so that's really pretty cool. But then when we start getting into the 1930s, 1940s, this page is only missing two stamps. Some of them are in mounts because people have dismantled albums, and I've got these slightly used mounts, and I just glued them in or taped them in. It's not a big deal. Then we start getting to the 1940s, and I've got almost a complete run of the 1940s, whether they were from my mom or dad's collection, or from the old stamp shop or coin shows, or buying bag lots when I was a kid, that sort of thing, getting grab bags. Some of them were actually from envelopes on eBay packages because people still use these stamps, including me. And some of them are mint, but most of them are used because a lot of these mint stamps don't have much value. There's a brand new California stamp right there in the corner, that gold one there. Pretty neat here. We'll just go through this a little faster here, skip a few pages. There's just some stamps that have eluded me. Here's like a little, not sure if this is one that I got from Zane Savage or somebody else, but, oops, sorry. I can't see it there. These are not, they made these by the gajillions, and I've actually used some of those on letters. A lot of people would cut the stamps out and use them that way. That's another way of doing it. I've got one in the book here too. Hopefully you can see that there. Then there's one that just had fallen out and needs to be rehinged there. This one says of issue. That was a first day of issue, but the envelope was super damaged, and I just thought it would be cool to keep that in there with a little edging in there. And so if somebody else finds this, I was like, geez, what happened? It used to be a first day of issue, but I think it was just a homemade one, and that's why I got. See, here's a block of 4 that's missing in the middle here. That's not valuable, but I don't want to go to eBay and pay $3 or $4 for that because it's only worth 20 cents in stamps, pretty much. So skip a few more here. This is the kind of the Berlin Airlift, I believe, and that's a kind of a special envelope, and I just cut the envelope and put it in there and put it in a penny sleeve, modified penny sleeve, so that's how I did that one. So a lot of these don't fit in the pages very well. Here's another block of 4, and some of these blocks of 4s I got the coin shop for face value. That coin shop has since closed. There's one I'm missing, a very easy one to get there. So there's some space ones on the bottom here. Another very easy one to get, so I've actually probably had those many times over. I just didn't check my book. Then we start getting into the 70s. I have almost a complete run of the 70s, the 80s. I just about have all the 80s except for some of these huge, giant... Oh, we're still in the 70s, actually. I have a giant... some of these sets were so huge, like all the presidents. I don't have all of those. Here's a really amazing space one right there. That's all complete. That's really pretty neat. The balloon set, I've always liked the balloons. What else do we have here? I know I'm flipping through, but you know, too much to show off in in one video really, but I just wanted to do an overview here. This is a 1075 stamp. Now that stamp is not worth very much, but it's still kind of expensive to find that used. That might even cost you 1075 used. This one here was a block of 4, but it came apart and somebody had taped it there, so that has no real value. I'm going to replace that at some point there. And I've been replacing, see, here's a sheet here, a whole full sheet of stamps. They made so many of those Ameripex commemoratives that I think it would just be best for you to, unless there was some slight corner damage or whatever, be best just to use them as postage. And a lot of collectors are actually breaking those up because they're finding that collectors are not buying them. They just want to use them for stamps. I have 2 varieties of the John Hopkins dollar stamp there. Not sure what the reason was. There was not a place for that. In later years I got this only goes up to like the early 90s because some of the supplements were so massive. I mean, imagine buying a 32-cent stamp times how many ever was on the sheet. That's a lot of autograph postage to lose or waste. So, and also they were duplicating pages because of some silly varieties. I mean, look at that 29-cent strip there times 2, 4, 6, 8 or something like that, and that's just kind of crazy. I do have some full sheets in here. Here's a space little strip there, so that's pretty cool. And I think that was an eBay purchase, just buying postage, and it was in there. I was like, wow. So there's many empty spots in here. There's like a huge 1994 set, and I think I actually got one in the mail for this set last week. So that's, somebody put that on an envelope. But more and more. And like I said, and these coil varieties, and here's the comic strip classics. I did not know how to put that in, so I just taped it in. You know, if it's your own album, you don't have to be professional about it. You just have to do it how you like it. Because whoever's going to buy this or get this album, when you decide to get rid of it, they're going to dismantle it and throw the album away and start over. But you see, again, these coil pairs, those are kind of hard to find, and they're kind of expensive just to buy a few. These bulk rate stamps, you get them on envelopes all the time, but getting a pair of them is not easy to do. That's just how they have chosen to do that. So that was my look into my stamp collection. Hope that gave you some ideas of what you can do for your stamp album. And that's all I have for you today, and thank you for watching.